Hello and welcome to WTR On The Horizon podcast. I'm your host, Joe Brunetto, Director of WTR Horizons and Business Analyst here at Water Tower Research. In today's episode, I'm joined by Harrison Gross, CEO and co-founder of Innovative Eyewear, ticker symbol LUCY or Lucy. Good morning, Harrison, and thank you for joining us today.
Hey, it's great to be here.
Awesome. So we recently launched our initiation of coverage on Innovative Eyewear a few weeks back. We encourage investors to go check that out, as well as published a recent quarterly update note on them as well. So excited to kind of dive a little bit deeper into the company's story, their strategy, some of the growth opportunities there. So we'll kind of jump right in here. Maybe Harrison, at a good place to start for those who aren't really familiar. Can you just kind of give us a quick intro to Innovative Eyewear, what the company does, and kind of what makes your eyewear smart, so to say?
Yeah, so our mission is to upgrade the world's most important wearable, glasses, with useful technology features that allow you to stay seamlessly connected to your digital life. We're taking a centuries-old product platform in use by over a billion people worldwide that need glasses and sunglasses to correct and protect their vision. And we're turning it into an on-ramp into our digital lives by allowing you to connect to various AIs and other systems through your voice on our smart eyewear. On a technical perspective, our glasses are essentially a Bluetooth headset and prescription glasses in one. Our frames look and feel like normal eyewear, but have all of the components of a Bluetooth headset seamlessly integrated into the frame. So imagine AirPods and a pair of glasses together in one product. That's Lucid Eyewear.
Awesome, awesome, excellent. Yeah, short and sweet. I think that gives us a great overview there. And you just kind of mentioned this. So you talked about your glasses being able to integrate AI, and I think I read too that your Lucid app was even able to it was the first actually to enable voice controlled access to ChatGPT through eyewear. Again, pretty futuristic. Can you maybe just talk about how that works in practice? Can you walk us through how a user with your glasses might interact with ChatGPT or another voice assistant in just day-to-day life?
Yeah, so shortly after ChatGPT came out in October of 2022, we immediately recognized how valuable it would be to leverage this capability, this powerful AI, into our eyewear platform. And we accomplished that using some custom Siri and Bixby integrations that we developed. So it all is, when your phone is locked in your pocket, you have to communicate with it through Siri and, or Bixby or Google Voice for the vast majority of phones out there. So we needed a way for you to be able to speak to ChatGPT with Siri as sort of the middleman. And that allows you to explore that functionality with the phone locked in your bag or in your pocket, which is really necessary to enable this feature to be fully functional, fully useful. So we created the first voice interface for ChatGPT just 6 months after ChatGPT came out. So before our integration, you can only type to ChatGPT. So you're restricted to using this very antiquated input method for this sort of intelligent system of the future. So there was something sort of anachronistic about that. So what we did was we made it fully voice enabled. Now on our glasses, you can click to activate Siri, and then you say Lucid, and then Siri knows that you want to speak directly to ChatGPT. And you can then speak a query to GPT and have the response relayed back to you from Siri. So all in all, it takes about a second or two, and you're able to access the world's most powerful AI right on your glasses. And this is a free feature that we've launched, and it's accessible in all of our models. And not only that, but it's actually accessible through other hearable devices. So if you use just a standard Bluetooth headset, you can enjoy this functionality as well. So we see it as important to be as sort of accessible as possible, to be as device agnostic as possible in the services that we're providing. So our software is compatible with essentially any hearable device. This opens up a whole other user base to us beyond the smart glass sphere, which is great. So we have a product that's also valuable for, let's say, your typical AirPods user with the Lucid app. And then when it comes to the eyewear itself, that device agnosticism is super important because you can't get an iPhone user to switch to Android or an Android user to switch to iPhone. You need to meet the user where they are with the platforms that they already are, make them easier to access. And that's what we're trying to do with smart eyewear. We're adding it as this sort of universal audio interface layer that tacks onto any other device that you basically use and makes it easier to control it through your voice.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. I think again, you hit those points great. And maybe just one last one to wrap up a little bit of thoughts on just getting a little bit more background on the company. And I think it ties two of those questions together a bit here. So I think it's interesting that you're really not just a hardware company, but you're also really a software company, as we've talked about with the Lucid app. So, in fact, you recently, I think, updated the app too. Like we talked about some new features. I think there's in-app shopping for prescription lenses, walkie-talkie mode for your Lucid Armor safety glasses. Can you maybe talk about how these features enhance the experience for the smart eyewear? Do you see software and services becoming a bigger part of your business model alongside the actual glasses themselves?
So we're actually like really doing three things at once. We're an eyewear company, we're an AI company, and we're an audio company all at the same time. To make a great pair of smart glasses, you need to sort of provide functionality in all three of those verticals. The glasses need to be prescription. They need, or not in all cases, but in most cases, they need to be prescription adaptable. They need to be comfortable and stylish. So that's the eyewear side, and all the eyewear engineering that goes into that. And then the AI side to make the glasses truly useful, get the most out of the voice interface. You need to be able to connect them seamlessly to other AI platforms. So all of those integrations involved in that, APIs and so on, a lot of the software stuff falls under that bucket. And then finally, they need to, it's an audio product first and foremost. It needs to sound great. We recently hired a new audio engineering team, a couple guys that used to work at Bose. And they've done a lot to help upgrade the sound quality of our frames. And you'll start seeing that on the new Reebok frames, which really are the best sounding smart glasses on the market. So do all three of these things at once. It's really difficult, and there's a huge barrier of entry into smart eyewear for that reason. Easy to make a pair of smart glasses that looks good, but it's not so easy to do all three right at the same time. You can make it sound good, but then it's bulky, like the Bose frames. Or you can have it look great, but then it might be lacking on functionality, or it might be to have tons of functionality like an Apple Vision Pro, but not so stylish and not so suitable for all day everyday wear. So one of the things we've always tried to do with smart glasses is sort of toe the line between futuristic wearable category that it is, but also the traditional stylish designer eyewear that people are already wearing every day and are comfortable with, and sort of merging these two into a new thing. So while we are doing these three separate things, we're working on audio, we're working on software, we're working on hardware, and AI integrations. It's really kind of emerged as its own discipline of smart glasses. It's its own field of study. It's its own sort of unique R&D trajectory that ties together all these different things, but has emerged as its own unique field of study, and also kind of its own developer environment as well. Because it's so cross-sectional between all of these different things. So in a way, you can't just have, and this is why you don't haven't seen all of these huge, all the really big eyewear companies have not just gone into smart glasses. Many times they've partnered with a tech company Meta and Luxottica, Safilo and Amazon partnered together. Google just invested $150 million in Warby Parker, and so they're teaming up. So what you're seeing is the eyewear company is actually having the humility to recognize that we cannot just produce smart glasses with traditional eyewear staff. We need, staff that is in tune to AI, is in tune to wearables and Siri and all these other things that we need to have a full grip on in order to produce a great product. Um, so yeah, so that's kind of like one of the unique challenges, but also something that I think it gives us sort of a strong moat around what we're doing, is that it is such a challenging multidisciplinary product that ties together hardware, software, health, and now AI into one.
Perfect. Great. Again, excellent. I think really great overview of kind of company and the business model and where you're going. So, I think a perfect way to kind of transition into, maybe a little bit more into maybe some of the partnerships you've worked on and some market expansion. So I guess first of all, you've partnered with some big brand names. You just mentioned Reebok before, but you also have Nautica, you have Eddie Bauer, just to name a few. How did kind of a relatively young company secure some of these collaborations with such well-known brands? What do these partnerships entail? For example, co-branding or design input. How do they really help you stand out in the smart eyewear market?
Well, this has been an interesting thing. Most smart eyewear historically has been produced just under the tech brand that created it. It hasn't been seen as a fashion accessory. And that's something that we're trying to change. We're trying to make smart eyewear a fashion product just like regular eyewear is. And it's interesting because that, in many respects, is what sort of took off the whole eyewear industry in the first place. In the 60s, Luxottica was the first to, to really license a brand and put it on, eyewear, and they started with Armani. And that was sort of the first time that eyewear became, went from being a medical device solely into also a fashion accessory. And that's something that we're trying to do with smart eyewear. We're trying to take it out of just the remit of early adopters and make it a mass market product. To do that, you need to have the design appeal of regular eyewear. So that was something that we saw early on as an interesting opportunity to become the first like house of brands in smart glasses. So we're the first company to produce smart glasses under 4 or 5 different brands. Um, so that's and that has done a couple of things for us. It's diversified our product offering to allow us to reach different audiences. So your Nautica customer is different from your Lucid customer, is different from your Reebok customer. It allows us to tap these different audiences with products that are more tailored to these specific user profiles. In the case of Reebok, there was a great opportunity to do a line of performance sports smart glasses, which doesn't really exist on the market besides our product. There are a few, Alibaba sports sunglass products that you can buy, but in terms of a high quality, designer sports smart glass, that's something that we really introduced to the market for the first time. So you can see how the brands are very useful for just diversifying the product offering, which in eyewear is particularly important because it is a fashion accessory and because people need to relate to the brand that they're putting on their face all day, every day. So extremely useful and valuable to have those brands for us. Um, and you'll see we've used the brands to create, different spins on the product. The Reebok product looks very different from the Nautica frames that we make, and they really address completely different user bases. The way we were able to acquire the partnership was actually through good relationship that we've developed with Authentic Brands. Authentic Brands is a major fashion company based in New York City. They own 50 or 60 different brands. And the crown jewel of their whole portfolio is Reebok, which we have. So they've really gotten behind us as their smart eyewear provider. And they see it as an interesting and fun emerging category. We're a quality producer in the space, so they decided, let's team up and license the brands to us to allow us to produce smart eyewear under them in exchange for a royalty on every frame that we sell. Um, and this has proven to be really valuable, not just for reaching new customers and bringing in new audiences, but also it's really helped credentialize our efforts into getting into big box retail stores. Big box retail is actually extremely important for eyewear. Eyewear is one of the few industries that's not digitizing as quickly as others because of the physical touch points needed in the eyewear process. You need to get an eye exam, you need to get adjustments, all these things that can't really be done online. So eyewear's been slow to evolve into e-commerce, and it's still about 70% of all eyewear is sold in brick and mortar. And of that, a huge percentage goes through Walmart and Costco Optical. Um, so that said, the brands have been extremely useful for advancing those discussions with retailers. In some cases, they already carry traditional Nautica eyewear or traditional Eddie Bauer eyewear, which have been on the market for a number of years. Or they see Reebok as a sort of a resurgent top 5 sports brand worldwide. And Authentic is really putting a lot into Reebok to help it compete with Nike and Adidas, and really putting a huge amount of resources into it. So there's been a lot of benefit to the company in multiple different ways. Another thing that's been really helpful is Authentic has introduced us to, their global Reebok partners, retailers around the world. So they're checking out our products and testing them out for inclusions in these different global markets. So it's been a great partnership. We've gotten access to global household names. We've gotten access to retailers, from around the world that sell these brands already. And all in all, it's been just an interesting way that we can, put a twist on our product to make it more appealing to consumers that are just looking for something that's a little more fashionable than what you might get from the other tech companies.
Awesome. And I mean, it makes total sense. And again, I think it's think you guys are kind of going along the right track there. So excited to kind of see the ongoing launch of these partnerships. And I think as we, kind of again continue to think about that and the way you're expanding through these partnerships. I know in January you announced a deal with Micro Center to sell your ChatGPT enabled glasses through their tech stores nationwide.
Mm.
This May you partnered with I Recommended. I'm also even going to go into kind of you going just for the sake of time here, going global too, with signing a deal with MTB to bring Lucid smart glasses to Mexico and Latin America. You want to talk a little bit about these partnerships, how it works both, what you expect both domestically and internationally in terms of expansion, and maybe what you're most excited about, regions you're excited about.
Yeah, so our home market is extremely important. It's a huge percentage of the global eyewear market, about 68 billion annual US eyewear market. So absolutely massive, massive industry, much bigger than smartwatches, much bigger than a lot of other wearable categories. So what we really see as the key opportunity is to convert the existing huge multi-billion dollar eyewear market into a smart eyewear market. And this is going to follow, in our view, a similar trajectory as what happened with smartwatches. So smartwatches been around for a while. Got a great product with the Apple Watch coming out in 2015. That was really the revolutionary step forward. And 5 years later, the entire watch market flipped. And now, as of 2020, more smartwatches are sold worldwide than regular watches. We see the same flip coming for eyewear. So we believe in a couple of years, most eyewear that is sold will be enhanced with some form of technology, whether it's AR, Bluetooth audio, AI features, health features, like hearing aids. So all kinds of different functionalities that can be put into a pair of smart glasses. And I think it's going to actually be an extremely diverse landscape as we see different smart glasses come out that address different user needs. Um, I'm very excited about these partnerships because they provide these opportunities for consumers to really physically try the glasses in person. This is extremely important in our conversion process. Most consumers still have never, you're a dialed in tech guy, so you know about all these products. But most people on the street don't know about Ray-Ban Meta. They don't know about Lucid Eyewear. They don't know about Apple Vision Pro. Maybe they heard about it. They never tried it. Actually trying our product is usually what converts the consumer more than anything else, more than anything we can do online. People put it on, they listen to some music through their glasses for the first time, they immediately see the value, and they immediately want one for themselves. So giving consumers the opportunity to experience our product in brick and mortar retail locations is extremely important because it provides these music demo experiences that can't be had online. And I think there's sort of an outsized importance to it, while smart glasses are kind of a newfangled entity in the consumer's mind. 5, 10 years from now, smart glasses, will be as universally understood as headphones are, and the need for in-person demos may decline. But right now, where it's a brand new concept to vast majority of consumers, having these in-person, retail touch points, extremely valuable. And we have some very sophisticated digital displays that are looping brand messages on, over video constantly, or allowing consumers to browse our social media networks, etc. And so it's not only an opportunity for consumers to try the product, it's like a living digital billboard for our brand in a lot of these retail locations when they have our digital displays in. So it's a very powerful thing. Gives the consumers a lot of confidence to see us in a real store, and not just another Amazon product. Yeah, so it's very valuable, but particularly for that reason that consumers are still new to the category. They don't know what to expect with smart glasses, and we can demystify it with an in-person demo in 30 seconds in a way that we just can't online yet.
Yeah, no, 100%. Again, I think that makes sense. So again, great stuff there. And again, I want to make sure we're kind of covering our bases here just in the interest of time. So
Sure.
again, as I kind of alluded to in the beginning of the call, we did recently put out our quarterly update note on Lucy just last week. So again, encourage any listeners to check that out, and there will be links in the description to that. So if we jump into just earnings for a minute here. We saw Innovative Eyewear reported 88% year-over-year revenue growth in Q2. I think Lucid Armor and the Reebok Powered by Lucid collection drove some pretty strong demand there. Can you share more about maybe what's resonating with customers and how you see this momentum carrying into the second half of 2025?
Yeah, so Lucid Armor Smart Safety Glass was a total dark horse product. We had no idea it was going to be the product that made the whole company, but here we are. It's a totally unique offering. It's an ANSI certified, OSHA compliant smart safety glass with built-in walkie-talkie features, obviously access to AI, and high quality audio. And it's all for $129. So it's been it's just been a hit. The product is price matching a regular pair of glasses, but you're getting all of these smart features. But what really struck a nerve with this product is that it's PPE. It's not for fun. People need safety eyewear. They have to wear it every day. Millions of people for their job to protect their vision. So we're offering a better version of that. It's simply better in every way. It has those communication features, allows you to speak to other people without pulling your phone or your walkie out of your pocket. So it's a great productivity tool as well. Like we hear from contractors all the time, they love it. They don't have to come down off a ladder to answer a phone call. They could just answer it in the rhythm of what they're doing. So it's really become, I think the product's become so successful because it speaks directly to a very specific user profile or set of user profiles, and just meets them right where they are with the functionality that they've been looking for. So it's a little bit less obtuse than with the general optical smart glasses, a little bit of a challenge in how to market that to the consumer, right? What do you focus on, the music? Do you focus on the AI features? Um, the cool factor, what is it that you're really going to put forward to sell the product? When it comes to the smart safety glasses, we don't really have to do any of that. It speaks directly to this specific user and these use cases of just working people that need protective eyewear, but also need the ability to communicate with other people that they're working with. We've made it easier than ever before with this product. Um, and then the fact that, prescription safety glasses are actually kind of hard to come by. There's not that many sources. They're a little bit difficult to get, usually expensive. So now the fact that we offer them in prescription also was a huge deal. And this is just a product that has no direct competitor. All of our other products, you can compare it to other audio eyewear on the market. But in the case of the smart safety glass, there's no other just certified all day wear prescription smart safety product out there. And I think that uniqueness has also played into its success. We're introducing four new versions, a small size, two different sunglass. The base version's a transition lens. We're introducing some new sunglass versions and a new version for high index prescriptions. So we're expanding it into a full product category for the company, and we've just seen so much heat around this product. I think because it is new and unique and different, and speaks directly to this user need of connected safety eyewear. Like we heard from one guy who runs crane crews, construction crews with thousands of guys, and they have serious problems with cross chatter on the walkies. One guy will think that his boss is talking to him, but he's actually talking to someone else, and this causes injuries in the workplace and it causes other problems and lost productivity. With our walkie feature, you can specifically add individuals to the walkie. The walkie channels are a little bit different. Instead of using radio frequency, it's over internet. So you have a lot more control over like who's in your channel and who you're speaking to. So um, it's sort of a better communication tool than what they're already using. And it's more functional safety glasses than what they're already using. So you can see how it's just like kind of a win all around for the people that upgrade to this product.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't agree more on that one as well. So again, really, really exciting stuff there. And again, congratulations on some really great results. So, I know, well, this is, we got to kind of hit on both sides here. Well, tariffs did weigh a little bit on, the margins for Q2. It looks like you've already implemented, new fulfillment centers and sourcing strategies. Can you walk us through how these actions position you for stronger profitability? Um, yeah, with nearly 9 million, in liquidity and no debt, you're in a pretty solid position to fund growth. how are you prioritizing investments, whether in marketing, product development, new channel, or even new channels to capture more of the smart eyewear market?
Yeah, so well, first of all, it's interesting. The whole, tariff roller coaster continues with the latest being that they're illegal and that the
Yeah.
money might be returned, and maybe we didn't have a margin impact after all. So we'll see how that plays out. Um, but one thing it really did was motivate us to build the global business more and focus more on ex-US operations. We built a global fulfillment network with nodes in Hong Kong, Netherlands, and Canada. In addition to obviously our fulfillment network here in the US. So we're global ready now. We're able to deliver directly from manufacturing lines in Hong Kong, in China into countries around the world. And we're basically set up to do ex-US business in a way that we weren't before as a result of all of this. And we've started focusing more on developing international partnerships and distribution, especially in Europe, for the smart safety glasses, because they've already been certified for Europe. So we see it as a motivator to sort of start building our offshore business a little bit more. Um, and also, look into different possibilities for onshoring in the future. At our current production quantities, onshoring is not really feasible, but in the future, as we get into the hundreds of thousands of units a year, onshoring or reshoring to Mexico, let's say, as opposed to manufacturing glasses in China, becomes a lot more viable, especially because um, many of the components of our glasses are standard optical components, so they're not really too outlandishly difficult to manufacture and assemble. The smart temples are all still manually manufactured, so it would be very difficult to make those here in the US. But it's easy to envision, perhaps different ways that we can mitigate the effect of potential, trade wars in the future. Sourcing parts of the product from China and finishing the assembly in the US is a possibility. Um, Manufacturing them completely in Mexico is a possibility in the future. They make, Fender guitars in Mexico. You can definitely make a pair of audio glasses there. So I think there's definitely a lot of things that have been raised by this. I would say it's also caused us to take a little bit more of a defensive position when it comes to some of our domestic B2B activities. For example, I think, when you have tariffs like this that are active, I mean, again, now they've been ruled illegal, hard to say. Um, it can become very challenging to run your business and to run it profitably when you have tariffs, that were larger than your profit or at the same size as your profit margins before. So I think ultimately the position is not really tenable, and I think we're going to kind of be back to where we were at the beginning of the year sooner or later. So I think there is a big challenge that we have right now, and how do we navigate around this situation, continue to make the highest quality products that we can possibly make, but do it at a margin that makes sense. So that's something that we've tackled in a lot of different ways. But I would say the the main thing that I think it has caused us to do is look at introducing maybe some more like a value collection into the market that we can produce at a lower cost. This could be a way that we can mitigate some of that, but also going direct to retailers. Having some of the sort of like in eyewear, traditionally you have this like layer of sales reps that kind of helps you connect to businesses and so on. And that's been successful for us in the past in some areas, but something that's sort of less tenable to have these sort of sales force, in the middle when your margins are so compressed by tariffs. So I think it's brought a lot of challenges, but all in all, I think it has made us stronger in that, we're more globally ready now. We're less reliant on our home market, and we're prepared for the future. But it has been a big curveball this year, and it's taken a lot of time and energy to address these things and navigate our business around it. And it's been very sad to see a lot of smaller businesses just pushed out of business by even just a few months of excessive tariffs was enough to undo a huge, part of our economy. So I think, all things considered, this is going to be looked at as a huge financial mistake. And I think we're going to move past it in the business landscape here pretty soon. So yeah, that's my hope. But at the same time, we're preparing and doing everything we can to sort of make our business more multinational. And we're able to offer very attractive pricing to wholesale partners outside of the US when there are no tariffs or import costs involved. Even before the wave of tariffs, we had like a 7 to 10% tariff on eyewear, even before the current trade war. So the fact, even going back a year ago, the fact that we saved that 10%, if we're just exporting directly from our factories to a retailer outside the U.S., already allows us to have pretty attractive pricing. Now it's relatively much more attractive because now we're saying, landing a smart glass in France is 30% cheaper than it is landing it in the US. So, we'll see how all this pans out. I have a feeling this is just going to be a very temporary blemish on our economy, and hoping we move past it very soon.
Awesome. No, I agree. I appreciate you kind of you walking us through that. And again, it definitely makes sense. And
Yeah.
I think kind of going off that again, you touched on some areas of this, so I don't want to be too repetitive here, especially just, in the sake of for the sake of time as well. Just kind of wondering, obviously, developing this, advanced tech like you are, AI integrated tech, it's not cheap and you're still a growing company. Again, obviously this tariff stuff is kind of throwing a wrench in things a bit, but how are you balancing this need to invest, in growth with, trying to find this path to profitability? And I guess, maybe there's, in other words, is, what's the business model that will sustain innovative eyewear as you scale up?
Yeah, so this is really where the B2B retail partnerships come in, because those allow us to scale up production quantities without meaningfully scaling up overhead. As if you look at us from sort of like the bird's eye view, a lot of the principal R&D work has been accomplished. So yes, every year we are continuing to tweak our products to improve audio quality, to extend battery life, to improve comfort, build quality, materials, etc. But the fact of the matter is, we have core market leading products on the market today, selling thousands of units a month, right? So I would say a lot of the uncertainties in an early hardware business have been answered at this point. So I think when you look at it objectively, we don't, if we start selling our smart glasses in Walmart or in Costco, we don't need to double our R&D team. We don't need to double our management team. We just need a new business unit that manages that customer, which can be fractional or internal. And and then we just need to fill their orders with our manufacturing partners. So the that's sort of the nice thing about our business, is that it is very scalable, and it's scalable in a way that doesn't dramatically increase overhead, because it's still going to be our same core R&D team creating these products, whether we're selling 1,000 a year or 1 million a year. And then the fact that if you look at how much we have accomplished and what we have done on with essentially a dozen people, um, it really shows you how important the drive and the brain power behind what we're doing is, and it's not just about the capital. And on paper, it makes no sense that a small company run by a 33-year-old in the bottom of Florida is producing a product that competes with Meta. It's just like on paper, it's ludicrous, right? But in the reality, if you look in the marketplace, we have a competing product with Meta at half the price, 10 times more styles. So it's on paper it didn't really make sense, but when you get into the actuality of what we're doing and the team that I've built, we're accomplishing amazing things on very little capital, and I think we're going to continue doing that. And it's all about the people in this case. So a lot of other companies, they would get a big contract and then they'll take on a lot of bloat and they'll build up all these things to address that. We have a much more of a precise engine that we're running here. We do very specific things. We do them very well. And what we need is, retail partners that are willing to take it the final mile and to put these products into the customer's hands. So all of that can be done without us dramatically increasing our overhead. So that's why I'm very optimistic about the future of the business. there's a certain amount of additional frames we need to sell. It's a very simple formula. We need to sell more frames and we'll hit break even and then profitability. And that's all because we have such a tight team doing that's used to performing and doing all these incredible things, building market leading products, literally on brain power. Like we've done it all just on our metal this whole time, and yeah, we raised a couple $1 million from the market, but it's not again on paper it doesn't make sense, but when you look at it objectively at the products that we've created, at the industry first that we've brought, at the 100+ patents that we've filed and acquired, um, you can see that we built the nucleus of a really strong business here. And sort of the last missing piece of the puzzle is the unit volumes. And that's something where, we think the big box retailers can bring that in. And with some, careful planning and bringing on the right fractional teams and the right, sales representatives and so on, um, we can leverage these big box retailers into huge business. So the potential is huge. There's a couple of things that need to happen. Consumer awareness needs to continue to grow around the category. We're starting to see that now. I definitely envision it happening in a similar way as the iPod revolution. One day just iPods were everywhere, and I think that's how it's going to go with smart eyewear. We've been sort of ticking towards that year over year, but now it's getting close to just a breakthrough point where everybody has it. And I see that coming in the near future, and I see my company being a key player in that revolution.
Excellent, excellent, love it. Again, great stuff. And then I think one, really last one here, and I think it's kind of is really going to be in summary. I think of a lot of what we talked about here today, but really just kind of looking ahead, where do you see both, really the industry, but as well, your company, and let's call it, 5 years from now, if we were having this conversation, it could be 2028, 2030. What do you hope to be telling you about, about innovative eyewear and where you guys have come from?
Yeah, I think I compare it to that iPod revolution a lot because it's similar in a lot of ways, right? It's a simple little device, makes it easier to listen to music. And that's kind of what our product is. Although it goes so much further than that with AI now in the mix. Now with AI in the mix, it's really like your glasses are a second brain, or your glasses are a research assistant, that gets whatever information you need or whatever mobile computing task you need done, it can do it in a second. And now, so we really see glasses as this is the most ergonomic, the most natural bridge into the world of AI. That a lot of that has to do with voice control because glasses are very well positioned for voice interfaces because of their proximity to your mouth and ears. So, and their necessity for vision correction is also a huge part of that. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely see us heading into a future where not just glasses, but wearables in general become the dominant format of mobile computing, perhaps home computing as well. But um, I really see it as it's going to be nearly universal among people that wear glasses. They're going to have AI enabled glasses, and I think that's coming in the next 5 years. And the reason is because companies like ours are eliminating all costs of switching into smart eyewear. Our glasses cost the same, they look the same, they correct your vision the same, they weigh the same, but you get access to, world of information, all your music, all your podcasts, and then one day, AR as well, and you'll be able to watch a YouTube on your glasses. So I think it's obvious that it's a much better product than regular eyewear just because of this access to intelligence alone, even discounting all the other features, the communication, the music, and all of that. So, if you really have a consumer and it's properly explained to them, like here's everything you get with Lucid Eyewear, here's everything you get with a pair of Costas that's just a pair of glasses, right? I think a lot of more and more consumers are going to go for the smart eyewear as we've eliminated all of these costs of switching. And it's sort of just like we saw with the smartphone taking over. First people were resistant to it, and then next minute everybody had one. I mean, I think that's exactly how it's going to go with smart eyewear. It's going to be like a watershed moment. Either a particular product or a particular marketing campaign is just going to break through. And everyone's going to want one, just like everyone wanted an iPad. Everyone had to have an iPod when they came out, and everyone had to have, an iPhone 10 years later.
Hmm.
Um, we see the same thing coming for eyewear. And we hope to be that gotta have it product. And we think the killer app is voice AI. That's really going to drive the mass market adoption of smart glasses. Because it's just such a powerful feature, and ultimately will integrate with everything else in our digital lives. You'll be able to control your smart home through your glasses, control your Tesla through your glasses, control your whole any digital device you own, whether it's with you or not. You'll be able to manage it from your eyewear, using your voice instantly. I mean, it's just so powerful, and very exciting, and glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, not again, definitely very excited, and I'm glad to, be able to follow along. So again,
Yeah.
I think that that'll bring us to time for today. But Harrison, really want to thank you for your time and joining us here today. So again, really thank you so much for jumping on with us today.
Yeah, this has been great, man. And look forward to upgrading your eyewear.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in here today. Don't forget to subscribe to On the Horizon and visit us at www.watertowerresearch.com to stay up to speed on all of our small cap written research reports, podcasts, fireside chats, and conference schedules. We'll see you next time on WTR On the Horizon.